Hey, this is James from All Hail Internal Combustion. This is going to be a weird video depending on how I edit it, but just wanted to give y'all a little view of this is the standard bore in our Ford 302. As you can see, there's a big ridge on the top of it. I did run a hone down it just to evaluate how bad the cylinders were, and we definitely got some scoring in there. But we managed to pick up a Van Norman 777, which is a boring bar, portable boring machine, and this one is from 1932. And Junior is setting this thing up on cylinder number 7, which we're about to bore. And right now we're just taking practice cuts because this is a new piece of equipment to us. So we're only going out 10 over on all of our cylinders just to make sure our settings are right, because we've got a set of 40 over pistons for this block out of our old 302 block, and we're just going to head and take this thing out so we can use our 40 over pistons, because we already spent a hell of a lot of money on this boring machine. Back during COVID, you could pick them up for $800-900, and then once the economy tanked, everybody wants a lot more for them. We didn't completely take a bath on this deal. It's doing a good job so far, so I'm happy that we didn't completely overpay and pay like $3,000 for it.
The guy had all the parts, or most of the parts anyway.
Yeah, the guy had pretty much everything for it.
70, 90 years old, he still had most of the parts. I mean,
yeah, so it's good to go. So we're going to go ahead and punch this cylinder out, and then we'll come back and we'll do a walkthrough on the machine and tell you a little bit about it and
modifications we had to do for a 302.
Yeah, we had to make some stuff up of our own because things weren't working out just right, but now we got this thing running like butter, and we're actually on this will be our seventh cylinder that we're boring out. So we'll go ahead and get into this happy cut, and then I'll cut out, and we'll go ahead and do this front cylinder that I showed y'all and show you how nice this thing cleans it up. Running it on slow speed with a good cutter. Alright, so this is our boring bar that we picked up. I've already gone over the specs of it, but some things we did when we first got it, we cleaned it up real good because it had a bunch of old machine oil up in this area. We cleaned all that off and re-lubed it. It also didn't have any oil in the gearbox, and after a lot of searching online, we finally found out that you can just run SAE 30 in there. That's what lubricates your gears between your motor and your cutting gears and the drawdown gears and all that stuff, so that needs to have some lube in it. And if you look right there, that's the cutting head that spins, that holds the bit. This is the area that takes the clamp that holds it down to the block when you're boring, so it doesn't move anywhere. This one's got high and low speed on it, and do not shift it while running. There's the nameplate on it. This raises and lowers your cutting assembly and your cat's paws, and if you push this little knob here in while it's running, that draws it down at low or high speed, however you determine, and that'll make your cut out of your bore. This little rod thing here is an auto stop. You adjust the height of this rod to go up here and meet this, and when it pushes down, it'll spin the switch and cut your switch off. I do need to get in there and clean that little pin because it ain't moving all happy the way it should be. So sometimes the auto off doesn't work. This little handle up here is what brings your cat's paws in and out. And basically your cat's paws just center this thing up in the bore. Then you would lock it down with your mounting bar and draw your cat's paws back in, and then you can start the cut after you set your bit. But out here, if you release your spring, you can draw it in quick or slow. Then you engage your spring once it gets down in the bore far enough, and you can do fine adjustments on it. There's a lot of videos out there on how to run it, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not really good at it yet, and I'm about to prove to you why. But these are some of the tools that came with it. This is your cylinder clamp. There should have been two with the machine, but the guy only had one. Oh well. This drops down in the bore, and this ledge right here will catch on the bottom of your cylinder bore, and then this arm gets screwed out to lock it into the bore, and then your drawbar will go there, which is what this thing is. It with thread over top of it. This holds the machine down tight. This acts like a fulcrum, and this draws up to clamp the machine down. The problem we had with this is all supposed to be below the deck surface. But on a Ford 302, it figures I don't have that drawn in enough. Let me open that up. But on a Ford 302, the bores are really short. So this thing was sticking up above the deck, which I'm about to show you now since I got it set up right. But if you put that down, lock it against the bottom of the bore, I'm sticking up way too high. We didn't get the smaller one, so we had to come up with our own way to do it. I took a piece of 1/2-inch plate and threaded it, welded it on the top. Yeah, it's a little crooked. Still works. And that goes in there. This whole thing would drop down into a bore. And then this plate goes on the bottom with a washer and a bolt. And you can use that to draw everything down. And it holds pretty tight. One thing I absolutely learned is you have got to tighten this thing down. I'll show you the proof of that in a second. Okay, so let's talk about that proof about tightening it down. You can see right there on the top of that cylinder, and right there, and right over there. Yeah, I didn't tighten it down enough, and it kind of jumped on me, but I caught it real quick because I was standing right there, so I cut it off. I could probably clean that up with chamfering the top of the bore, which you can set this machine up to do that as well. There might be a couple little icky spots in there, but it would clean up. Now I did something even worse. We all know the thing, you know, measure twice, cut once, and all that stuff. Well, you know, you got to make sure that you set the micrometer right when you're doing your final bore. So let me show you the micrometer that comes with this and the cutter. So there's your cutter, which is this piece here. It goes into your micrometer, and of course you set your depth of cut. Now, this thing is reading to cut at, currently it's set at 42. That was my mistake. Because if we go back here and do this math crap, I measured all my pistons. My average size was 4.035. Maybe plus or minus a thou out of all the pistons. So that's my average number. I wanted to have a 4 thou piston to wall clearance, which is a thou per inch of bore, because I don't know what this manufacturer called for. These are old pistons. So my bore should have been 37, because I still would have had to hone the block, because boring is not honing. And I would have taken out 1 or 2 thousandths with the hone. And my final size would have been 4 39 thousandths. But I screwed up and set the cutter wrong. My final bore is 42, which is 7 thousandths instead of 4. So what I am now is a sad clown. So I cannot use this block with 40 over pistons. That's way too loose. So basically I just turned this block into a boat anchor. And that really sucks because this thing was so freaking clean on the inside. It was just ready and I completely destroyed it. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, you know, just go ahead and take it out 60 over. 302s don't really like 60 over all that much. They tend to run really hot, and there's just been problems with it. I'm sure people have done it and they've gotten away with it and everything else, but instead of me going and buying new pistons and rings and all that crap, which is going to be, the set I was looking at was like $240 for a decent set of pistons. Not bottom of the barrel, not top dog either, but I consider them to be good pistons for the money. And instead of spending $200 on that, $200 plus on that, we're looking around, we're just going to find another 302 roller motor. I still need a crank for this because the crank was destroyed and we don't have a set of heads for this engine. So we're just going to look around and find a core motor and go ahead and do our machine into that. I've learned some really valuable lessons on this block, and I guarantee I will not screw the next one up. And we're going to go from there. So basically now we're starting completely all over from scratch. But I learned some stuff, and that's what it's all about. I make mistakes just like anybody else. New piece of equipment, me being dumb and not double checking my measurements, got me this. It's going to be the prettiest engine sitting at the scrapyard. I guarantee it. But that's going to be it for this video. I don't even know what we're going to do next. We got to find a motor, and then we got to do a teardown on it and all that crap that we've already done like 3 times, but it still needs to be done because this is the next thing we want to get back on the road. Junior's already started doing the frame on the truck, so it's getting close. We just need to catch up to ourselves. This has been James from All Hail Internal Combustion. See y'all next time. Like and subscribe. Hopefully we don't screw up anything else. Well, I don't screw up anything else. See you next time.